Hi, Bill Atkins here, and today I wanted to talk about think of when people come to your club as guests before they're Toastmasters and they're making a decision and they're sort of sizing your club up if whether they want to join that or not. And it all starts with first, why do people join Toastmasters? Well, it may be a fear of public speaking, of course. It may be that they never ever had the opportunity to speak to a crowd. It may be some leadership skills. There's many different reasons, but one thing that seems pretty common is people are uncomfortable getting up in front of a group of people and speaking. So what do we do at Toastmasters? We have our meeting, and when it gets to table topics, we pick a guest who's never spoken in front of a crowd, and we tell them, Mary, come on up here, and we're going to ask you a question on the spot. You're not prepared, you didn't practice for. Oh, and by the way, we're going to evaluate you. Now you have 2 to 3 minutes, go. Now how does that guest feel being a part of your club? If they get through the table topics, they're not coming back because you just reinforced everything that they had as a fear of public speaking. So what I'm going to suggest is try this at your next meeting. In fact, try it for the next 4 meetings. When you have a guest coming into your club, of course, introduce yourself, introduce them, always using the guest name. You'd say, oh, hi, Mary. Refer to introducing Mary to other people using her name. It just reinforces that connection. But when Mary's first here, I say, Mary, I want to ask you a favor. I have this card here, and if you could just jot down something about yourself that you're really proud of or something that you really, really like, and just jot it down there and put your first name, and that'd be great. And let the guest fill out that card and go on with the meeting. Go through all the normal parts of the meeting, follow the agenda, and get to the table topics of the Toastmasters meeting. Except this time, we're not going to frighten the guests by asking them to, on the spot, impromptu, come up with a speech where you have a room of people looking at them, looking at their eyes, and then we're going to evaluate them. Instead, we're going to say, let me see here. Now, somebody in this room has an interesting story. Somebody here jumped out of a plane on a dare and lived to tell of it. Now let's look around. If anybody could think of who this person is, point to that person, and let the people in the room think of who might have written that. And after everybody's pointing to different people, say, okay, will the real parachutist stand up and let us know who he or she is? Now when Mary stands up, everybody will, of course, applaud. And instead of saying, Mary, come on up to the front of the room in front of a group of people and speak for 2 to 3 minutes, and we're going to evaluate you and tell you what you did, how many ahs, ums, and how your vocal variety was, and how you had hand gestures, and go through all that. No, you don't want to do that. You don't want to frighten someone. Instead, you say, Mary, tell us a little bit about that. And then Mary stands up and tells us a little bit about it. She doesn't even have to come to the front of the room. She could stand where she is and tell us about her experience as being a parachuter. Now, if you have multiple guests, as many of our clubs do the same with the next guest. Bob, what was it here that, it says here that you attempted to learn how to ski 4 times and then finally gave up and got into another sport. Tell me a little bit about that. And now Bob gets up about it. The idea is let your guests participate in a non-threatening way. Let your guests talk about something that they already know about. So instead of them going up there and being frightened in front of a room of people and never coming back, he or she's talking about something they know. After all, they told you, they know about their parachuting story, they know about their skiing story, or whatever story that is. At the end of their speech, again, everybody applauds. Everybody says, wow, that was really great. And that person leaves feeling really good about that group, because here it was, going into it, they had a fear of public speaking. By the end of that one meeting, they were up in front of a room speaking about something they were comfortable with, no fear, and everybody clapped. So I'd like to challenge you, use this card, and use this card on guests as they first come into your meeting for the first time, and let me know how it works for you. I think you're going to start getting a lot more members. And as a Toastmaster, part of our job in fulfilling our Toastmasters promise is to invite and encourage people to join Toastmasters, because that next new member could be your best speech you've ever heard. And after all, if we're helping that person to become more confident, to become a better public speaker, and to get leadership skills, that's what we're really here about. So that's your challenge. All guests fill out a card, ask them to just jot down something simple that they are happy or proud about and their name, and let them participate in table topics in a non-threatening manner. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.